So I am not even going, this is my notebook. Maybe I will type this out and share when I return from Nairobi. I will return tomorrow, so on the weekend I can type this. But I thought that if I didn't come here, I would have also not been useful. So I'm just saying a few things that I jotted down. So one of the things I think we should be looking for is that we need to understand the laws to be sustainable. Those of you who have been in media for a while, you know that litigation can take a lot of money out of your businesses. So I'm approaching monetization, but as well as sustainability. The examples, you know them. So I would recommend take a time, read and understand the laws. Because there are people now, let me tell you, me who works with sometimes politicians and other people. Sometimes you run a story which might be correct, but it is injuring them. So they know they cannot take you on facts. So they go and study the law. Which section of the law can I take on this guy or this media house? Now they go legal. That is where you also need to equip yourselves with the knowledge of the law. Okay? I know that I'm not going to give names, but please be mindful of that. Because when you grow, the country also grows. Yeah? And information and content is the new currency. I hope you know that. You know that better than me. There are things I recommend you do together, and that's why I'm happy to see you here together. Things like research, you can do that jointly. Content gathering. Government has a lot of content. I hope you people know that. And I'm going to come to that, how you can do that. What am I saying? Where you can share costs. Please don't go it alone, because some of these things are expensive. Even in things like office premises, internet, and whatever. Because you might think you are competing, but my understanding is that you are complementing each other. Okay? So any costs that you can share, think about that. I am on the board of UPC. Now we are also looking at how do we work with the district communication officers. One, they are under pressure. We have put them under pressure. I coordinate them. I am the coordinating point for all government communication officers. Because I'm the communication commissioner. All of these people, recruiting, deployment, tooling them. We recently bought laptops for all of them, because we want to ease content creation, finding stories, and sharing. So those people have tons of information. In fact, one of the ways we assess them, how many stories have you put out there? I am going to, maybe through Hassan, I'm going to share all these networks with you. Because on one hand, you are looking for news, we have put them under pressure. We are not seeing content. They have content, you are looking for news. So where do we meet each other? But we have tons and tons of that. I will be happy to get for you all of them from the center, MDAs, but also the districts, which are now 146. Okay? So you are efficient, so you don't spend too much to get what you want to create the content that you can market. Because if you are spending too much, then you are eating into your resources as well. I will share those. Good enough, they are on Google settings. I will transfer all those to you. Now, I also know this because I've worked in this for long. There are people who fund special projects. Because media, you inform, you educate, you drive agenda, don't you? But you also shape policy. These people, I'll even share some of these resources. But what are they looking for? You also need to understand the agenda. Things like climate change, gender equity, inclusion, what they call inclusion. If you know about Sustainable Development Goals, what is their tagline? Who knows the thing? the tagline for SDGs across the world. Leaving no one. Yeah. This is about inclusion, gender issues, issues of women. Why aren't there women here, you guys? Mr. President, very well. We want equity. She's representing all of them. So we want media that promotes inclusion. So when you write these, they are some of the most fundable projects for media, because you also need resources to be sustainable, to invest in curating, production, in different modes. Okay? You are into business, but there are things you can do as projects. If you watch BBC and Al Jazeera, they do these documentaries in partnerships with the UN agencies, regional bodies and others. But you need to understand what do they look for before they take a decision to put in money. And this you can do collectively. Good enough, you are an association already. And you have governance structures, a constitution maybe, articles of association, ethical issues. How do you account? How do your accounting mechanisms? So for you, it's actually much easier. Moreover, you are Christians. Esente tegenda kukula maguru etambule eduke. See that? Moreover, we are founded on Christian values. Yeah, of accountability, of Hassan, I'll give you some of these when I return from Nairobi. Then, this is critical, and I suppose you know it. The content you create for the market is not for you. I hope you know that. If I ask each of you, what is your core audience? Sebo, what is your core audience? What's your niche? Because I've studied a bit of this, and I'm sure you did. The audience is not one mass. It has segments. Abachara, the youth. In fact, even those you can segment further. There are elite women like this one, but there are women in markets, there are women in the... And that's why we have these CPS. But we also have these others. Because that alone shows you that the audience is not one homogeneous mass of people. Please, if you don't understand differently, to him, and that's the essence, I'm sure you know, of having influencers. We sat down during COVID. How do we get young women to wear masks? So we use some of these people, Nakazue, who is from MTV? Farida, yes, and many others. Because the message was that distance, wear a mask, but then who will deliver it best? So you look into the demographics of the different segments of the audiences. Please don't forget, you don't create for yourself. And this might require research again. So who are they? What are their tastes and preferences? How do they access information? How do they want it? Young people, especially now, you know it yourselves, their attention spans are very short. I was at Nari, the retreat for cabinet. I went to do a presentation there on communication. These were the things I was saying to them. That's why you see, even the president, and the demographics, Uganda is a young country. Fellow Ugandans, especially Bazukuru, isn't that how he starts? It's not a coincidence. He knows the country. And if you notice, he doesn't wear suits a lot of times now. You know why? Yeah, he's a working president. In fact, if I wasn't coming from the seminar, I wouldn't have come here in a suit. Because he's smartly dressed but casually dressed. He's available to work with the people. Okay? Smart casual. He's dressed like other people dress. But that is a working, than the one who wears a dark suit and you are going to you cannot go dressed like this. That is again part of understanding the audience. The audience, the message, the packaging, and the mode of delivery. That's why we have CPS. I do this with the those guys, your guys, they are my friends. I was with him at the university. So we know we are using CPS to deliver this message to this FICO area. But we're also delivering in a language that people understand and speak. That is why the other thing I'll share with you, Cabinet approved the communication policy on 9th of March. So starting in July, we are going to start implementing. Come and I give you everything. What is in it, the strategies, multimedia, digital, and everything. So the audience should be related to the medium. Yeah? Today, and I'm going to share, even the Nile one, it's a public document. I put their figures. Who is on X, who is on TikTok. I got all those from UCC. I have the latest industry statistics from January this year from UCC. Please remind me and I share. I believe knowledge is for sharing. All those statistics are there. So, audience. Now, what is the link between the audience and money? Because we are talking about monetization. Us, and this is what you should also do. When you come to my office, I'll ask you geographically, how far do you go? Do you cover the whole country? Do you cover central Uganda? Who is your core audience? Is it the one I'm looking for? But that audience is also driven by the type of content you put out. Okay? So there is a close link between content and advertising. Yeah? Because it is that content that will sustain for you the audiences. As we buy audiences, advertisers. It's not CBS I'm looking for. I am looking for the audience of CBS. That's why I pay CBS, so that I put my message to get through. But it's your job to ensure that your programming retains that audience. I hope, friends, even digital, you will be amazed. In fact, I'm going to share now. The presentation is in my phone. I'm going to give it to him, so each of you have a copy. All the statistics are there, print, X, TikTok, Facebook. They are in this. I'm going to give it to him before I leave. Each of you can have a copy to show you what I meant. Then, how do you package? I've talked about that. Speak their language. That is why we picked Farida. The message was from me. But I knew that if it's me talking to those people, they may not listen to me as well as they listen to Farida. So I picked Farida. We came Katikiro, Twambale, Ugokoro. And my goodness, it was amazing. Because we know that he wields a lot of moral authority here in Uganda. I even remember there's a time we were promoting Emiti Nansangwa. To Katikiro. My goodness, people took all the seedlings and we had to buy again here in Uganda. So those are some of the things you need to, So the content, is it relevant to the audience? Is it captivating? Can it keep them interested? Or they'll have one look and skip? Because young people now are on the move. So if it's captivating, it has to be about the packaging. Maybe the aesthetics, which pictures or graphics do you use? All of them are in my presentation for Nari, which I'm going to share. It should be simple to understand, because if you write something and I need to look for a dictionary, instead of looking for a dictionary, I'll look for something else, because you are giving me work to do. So it should be easy for me to read once or watch once and understand you. How do you keep them interested? Because if you can, then that becomes your audience. Me, advertiser, I'm looking for the audience. Even MTN, even Airtel. Don't forget that. Even the private sector. They don't give you money because they like you. That's why when you come, we say, give me a proposal. How many million people does CBS reach? How many does NTV reach? Where are they? What type of people are they? Are they the ones for which I want my message? Then I take a decision. So you don't even have to lobby me once I read that. Of course, I will do some checks as well. But then we're in business. My message has reached where I wanted it to reach. You have made your money. You are sustainable. So your passion is turning into kasente. So whether you are a blogger, whether you are online publisher, that's what you need to know. In fact, for you people online, it's much easier now because the costs are much lower. You know that. You don't, for example, you don't pay for toner, you don't pay for newsprint, you don't pay for transporting newspapers. In fact, I'm told when they are not sold, you also have to transport them back to office. You can imagine. You don't pay for electricity for printing machines and others. There's a time I was in Yumbe, the newspapers for the day reached at 4:30 p.m. I was working there. I wanted to buy, they told me that no, here it is for the RDC, for the CAO. I mean Chief Administrative Officer. So at 5 on a bus, which left Kampala, I'm told probably at 5 a.m. So if you're online, it should be easier. And online, it would make it easier to share this information also from one platform to another. I've been encouraging hustle here, but if you're online, to begin with, that helps you, what they call a selling advantage, because now most of us access information from here. And that is why even the old media, what they call legacy, are also going online, isn't it? If you check all of them, I don't know of any that is not online, Okay? So the content should be easy to consume, but also easy to understand, Now, and that may require some research. Going back to what I said, there are certain things you may have to do together. Because if you go it alone, it might cost you so much money. But it helps you because you get the information that you need to feed into your content, and how you package it. Because sometimes you think you are doing the right thing when it may not be right, By the time you discover it's not right, you have lost what? Audiences, and once you lose audiences, you lose advertising, Remember, as we look for audiences, advertise with Hassan because he knows me. Because I also have to account for the money that I spend, We are closing the financial year. Those are the questions we are answering, Why did you pay this money here? Why did you pay here? Give us evidence, Okay? So if you know that, your job becomes easier. Your turnover is higher, or costs you pay individually. Remember I spoke about that at the beginning? Then understand, For example, are most people online in the morning or in the evening? Are they more on weekends or on working days? But if it's working days, what time of the day? When does your story go out? But also keep those statistics. If you bring them to me, I will say, yes, this is what I'm looking for. If I want my message to reach where it's going, and that's why we are allowed to use multimedia. But for each of those decisions, there has to be evidence. Because we need a whole trail of documents which you also present to auditors. Remember, us in government, everything ends with audit. Even this, the private sector. Because even a company has shareholders. They want to know that money for communication and media is even driving sales. Not so. Yeah. I don't know, Movit, whatever, you know them. I hear them a lot on your radio, Yeah, so please, we are looking for audiences, not you, not the Mukutu. Understand that, and then you monetize, the passion. Quickly. Okay. Then what else did I want to touch on? Now, I get a lot of proposals, because I had this function, communication across government, so we get a lot of proposals. But what is interesting, for example, what is the date today? Has 25th. When are we closing the financial year? On Tuesday. But people are still sending proposals to me. And then they send a WhatsApp, I say, okay, this is noted, but we are going to handle next financial year. Because we have closed all payments. By tomorrow, we are... So you should also know, when do we advertise? Take time to understand that. What are the key milestones? Maybe Ministry of Health, maybe World AIDS Day, World Health Day. There are those. Interest yourself. So when you are pitching, you don't pitch because even pitching costs you money. So you should be scientific and precise and be guided by research. There's what they call working hard, but there's what they call working smart. If you know the right timing and the right people, you know. I come from a ministry. If you have your entry point are communication officers, the heads of those communication units, which are also responsible to us all across. But now, under the new policy, which was approved in March, all of these now report to the PS or the ED, who is also usually the accounting officer. Okay? Because sometimes, you know, you find people at the reception, they are moving up and down. You should also know, because even that moving is costing you time and money. So who are you looking for? Who are you looking for? You should know what you are offering. My station was established this year. We have maybe repeater stations to boost the geographically. This is where we are. On each average day, how many people are on CPS? On average, peak hours like now and maybe in the morning. They are in millions. Million mega. Okay, the point is that how many are they? Where are they? Because for me, I'm not in the business of donating money, even the private sector. But if you tell me, I actually have an idea, because I also do some research and review these study reports and compare them with what you people bring, because I know every time you listen to a media salesperson, they'll tell you they are the best and the biggest. So if each one is the best and the biggest, then who is not the best and the biggest? That is why even ourselves, we also do research of our own. And that is why you should give valid information, because if you exaggerate, then you also lose credibility, okay? But of course, we know it ranges. It's not a static, figure. Sometimes it's like temperature. You have seen and they say high and low. It keeps moving. So you should present something based on that. And then they shouldn't be too detailed, because these things can be many. So have a quick look, 1 to 3 pages, take a decision. Head PDU process. Then media services, maybe I also need to do this. Media services are classified as common user. There's no one who doesn't consume them. So what do? We put them on what we call framework contracts. Do you know them? Who knows a framework contract? The president was saying, the educators. He was asking us, when did the British come to Uganda? We were at State House, managing directors and what. When did the British come to Uganda? Your Excellency, President, in 1894. So, then we can take quick decisions. Eh? It helps you, but it also helps us. But framework is sometimes called pre-qualifying. Eh? So we shortlist you. Know when people invite calls. I feel bad when people come and I tell them that our framework contracted period still has 1 year to go. The question is, where were you? Because the law requires us to advertise those. Eh? So every time you come, we do what we call a call of order, because we have shortlisted you. So pick interest in that. So when you work, you don't work hard, but you work smart. Know that your entry point is the head of communications who works with the PS or CEO or ED, but sometimes with the other heads of department who you may not know, because the budgets are distributed in these places. So each of you should be having on your speed dial the Ibrahim Bassa, UCC, URA, Ministry of Lands, or BO, and whatever, because that is your entry point for news, but also for business. But also understand what are the key milestones for this ministry. So you are not on the road every day, walking everywhere. You are looking busy, but you are not meeting your targets and objectives. Let me also tip you about this. Public officers like visibility. Which money? They like visibility. They want to see themselves. Especially when they are dressed well, like that man there. They want to see themselves in the newspapers, kumukutu online, because now they are in color. The pictures are in color. On TV, on TikTok, they want to see themselves there, but for the good reasons, because someone will call them, I've seen you, you are doing a good job. Why? Because we are often under a lot of pressure. A lot of people think we are not working hard enough, we are corrupt and what. So you find the PS is stressed, commissioners are stressed, so that if you can demonstrate that you can ease a bit of that and give us a good story, everyone will be running for that. I tell you, I work with the permanent sector. These guys are stressed. The Auditor General, the white PPDA, all of those audits. And then maybe one thing out of 15 goes wrong, and the one is the one that is in the news, and the 14, which are okay, are not anywhere. So if you can also dangle that, because what do we do these days? We buy what we call a package, a bit of editorial, some news stories, but also pay for either adverts or advertorials. Why? Because we know a news story is more believable than an advert. Yes. An advert, someone has a look and says, what would you expect? Ministry of ICT paid for this, so they put here whatever they want. So if you are marketing, sell a package, we can do a bit of editorials, a good story here, an advert here, and normally we take it on. Yeah? Ministers, they want to see themselves, they're smart and nice. They want to see themselves in your media. But not when they come, I'm sure you know. When they come and your moderators, and they take them apart, and that's why sometimes they don't want to come. I'm not saying your station, because no one, even yourself, you don't want to look bad. So, as I know, media is about facts, balance, and what? There's balance, facts, and what? And what? Yeah, and accuracy. But please understand, and journalists, often that's why we misunderstand you. Because a lot of times, we think you are hunting us down. And if you do that, then how do you get the business? I am not saying you do propaganda for us, but understand you are dealing with human beings. If you do that, I know I will not say them. There are people I've guided. Someone does maybe one good story, a Q&A. and maybe you get a phone call from the president, and he says, "Oh, Permanent Secretary, ICT, you are doing a good job. I've just read this." You can imagine what that does, to a PS who has gone through audit since Monday to today, and even the brain is about to burst. So the reason they are running away from you sometimes, they think you're up to no good. This is for you yourselves to reflect on. Because these are human beings, they have families, they have what. They're also worrying that a story might get me out of my job. Just like you have a job. Sometimes they tell me, you come and see what they have done again. Then they come here, but they are looking for adverts. They just see what they have done. So that one is for you to reflect over. Someone is going for a weekend on Friday, and they tip them that there's this good story. For the ladies, they also like to look good. So I don't know which, you have software. One, they like to look and nice and what. Because remember, you are dealing with human beings. I've worked with all these people. And for them, when you treat them well, they can actually give you all the money. Because a lot of times media makes them look like monsters, like thieves. I'm sure you have heard this. But these are the guys holding the money. It's the money we are looking for. I am not saying we should cook stories and publish lies to make them look good. But we need to reconcile the news with the reality that these guys have the money, but they're also human. I know I had a boss who lost a job because of one story like this. I will not tell you where. But those who know me probably know who that boss was. One story like this. I remember the president was in Munyanyo, read one story. He said, "I want to know more about this." He directed the minister to suspend my ED then. So, it's that serious. We live with that as public officers. So when you are behind the laptop, when you are in the newsroom, you are working on a story, and the central man has never recovered from that until today. In fact, his contract was ending. He was supposed to work in Geneva with the, I think, UN Environment Program. But you know, these things go online, and even that was recalled. One story like this. You know the journalist, I will not tell you the name. Now, me, the board was asking, this guy is always with you. Are you the one who leaked the story? He also put us in trouble as your entry point, the communication officers. But also, as a journalist, I don't know what type of people you can be. Because we gave him a lift. Me and the ED gave him a lift. We were going to Soroti. But the ED was receiving phone calls. In the car, we thought the guy was sitting far in the back seats of these Land Cruisers. So as the ED was answering calls, he was picking things. The ED is talking to the minister, the ED is talking to the board chairman. Oh, so this is what is going on here. Okay. Exclusive. Then now, of course, I also had to put him under pressure because the board has put me under pressure. Now he changed it. So there are ministries I know, because under the policy, media, between 10 and 15%. So if you have a project of $1 billion, just know that about a minimum of 150 million is going towards media and communication. That's another thing you need to know. But the people who make decisions are in there, you know. So the package, it works, eh? Because when people read the story, they know it has been done at your initiative. Eh? You see that? It's more believable than an advert. Yes. Of course, now this package, you can also embed some discounts. So for the same amount of money, we get more visibility. We will be looking for you. This is the guy who gives us visibility. Sometimes I've been a PRO for many, many years. Eh? Sometimes we have field events. They ask us, I've been through all this. Eh? Invite journalists. You come back, one day passes, 2 days passes, a week passes. But where is our story? You see that, eh? I am not saying you do PR stories only, but these are some of the things you can reflect about. Eh? Because what do? They say when we need a friend, eh? This guy, you know, can put in a good story for us. You can also write the negative ones, but I don't believe it should only be the negative stories. Eh? You people say when a man bites a dog is what? It's when it is news, eh? But there's also the good story that we can tell, eh? Especially as we want to build the country. That's the things we are doing. Media, as you know, you also shape opinion. You shape brands. You shape Uganda and agenda. Yesterday, out of being curious, I Googled Uganda. My goodness. Yeah. And all of these are aggregated, eh? So what are you contributing to your country to put you in a strong position to also advocate to be supported? Eh? I'm sure you have heard about even His Excellency complaining. Eh? I will not mention anyone here today. But sometimes we sit with him. He says, but you people, this animal is biting me. You want to fatten the animal, so it bites me even harder. And you know, he's the Minister of Finance. Eh? If you didn't know, that budget Honorable Sasi's wrote is approved by the President. All of us, as we start the cycle, we go and present to him our priorities and the budget estimates. Eh? It's only after he gives us a go-ahead that we go and break down now, work plans, procurement plans, but those ceilings, he approves them. Eh? So he was saying, sometimes we argue, he says, okay, but you people, okay, give them, but surely, eh? They are biting me. They are biting me. We want to give them more strength. Eh? So they grow fatter and they grow better teeth and bite me even harder. I'm telling you that from the inside, okay? And probably not all, because you invited me, so that hopefully I can add value. Not each and everything I'm saying should be going on air, but these are some of the things you can do to help you grow. Because to grow, you need resources, you need money. Then you also have costs. You pay people, you pay for electricity. Otherwise, then how do you stay afloat? Eh? Yeah. I mean, I've worked with some of the best journalists here, people like Charles Mwangusha. Those guys are my friends. And I'll tell them, this one, you stay away from this. Eh? Stay away from this and what? Eh? And you know, they say, okay, but we want, give us more information. Eh? Yeah. Okay? Because I hope you know, the government is the biggest source of information, isn't it? Even when you study news, it's about prominence, isn't it? The news values in journalism. Who is the most prominent person in Uganda? The president is the most prominent person in Uganda, and therefore the chief newsmaker. Eh? That's why we are always on his X handle. You remember during COVID when he would address the country? People are sitting, then he says, therefore, and everyone sits up. Eh? Therefore, starting saa moja ya usiku. And he knows, we have told him, Sometimes we say this one, say it like this one. This one, maybe don't say it like this. Actually, even the story behind casual shirt, it started as a conversation. Because he is a working president, he should identify with his people, even the way he dresses. Those white shirts, I don't know how many he has, but he looks more like a working president and who connects, even from the way he presents himself. So any discounts through the packages, ethical issues now, this one. Yeah. And I've faced this. You people, you know it yourselves. Because we are your sources, but we also advertise, even the private sector. There's a journalist who used to call me that unless you do this, the machine is going to roll. I will not say where I've worked in many places. I've been through crises in a number of places where I've worked, where sometimes I'm looking for a managing editor, I'm looking for what? I'm looking for a journalist. Sometimes I would even follow a story up to the desk of a managing editor. But then there are also these journalists who are extortionists. Have you heard about them? Have you ever seen any? Do you have policies to deal with them? You remember, in fact, one of them was my friend. The guys who were arrested in the office of the managing director of National Water. Do you remember them? Do you remember them? One of them was my friend. I will not mention his name. In fact, I was surprised. So the MD gave them money, but by the time he gave them, he had called the police. Because remember, each of your media houses is a brand. And these people, when they go out, they are representing your brand. You've had what we call a corporate personality, the brand, and then me as an individual. So he's reminding me, thank you, Hassan, because once I start talking to journalists, I don't want to stop. But you have a local, you pray for me, and I get to Entebbe quickly. So please mind also the image, the brand, the ethical practices. I am actually very happy to see people smart here today. When I was at OPM, every time they would see a journalist wearing damage. You know those jeans? Wearing damage. What else I see? Your people. I say they are yours. No, they are yours. Then there are these funny things people do. Sometimes they are fighting over food and what. But I also know journalism is infiltrated. I don't know what I want to have a conversation with you. How do we deal with that? Because those bad apples are giving a bad image to all of you. In fact, I want some proposals, because as we produce the new law, where should we put the threshold of who is a journalist in Uganda? Because if you have a bad brand, you can't even start talking about selling. Because once we mention you, people switch off. Yeah, so those things that journalists, or people who purport to be journalists are doing, they are doing a lot of havoc. And if you lose your name, you lose everything. You can't even start a conversation about monetizing your passion or content. I don't know whether we need to do another one, but you can even send through Hassan and give me some proposals, because now we are going to write in law who is a journalist. If you are not, I have been advising that we give people time to upgrade their profiles. Because there are also those who are doing a good job, but they don't have the papers or the education. So if you have any proposals, I will appreciate them. Finally, but you need to understand where are the priorities for government. Remember, I said 10 to 15%. Where are the priorities? What are government priorities? 1, 2, 3. You should have the NDP4 here. It's available on the website of NPA. What are the priorities there? And where is the 18, rather the 15% of the advertising? You've heard about the tenfold growth strategy. You should be at home with these, ladies and gentlemen, because this is where we are also putting most of the money for advertising, the wealth creation programs, and you know what they call the ATMs. You know the ATMs? Agro-industrialization, tourism, minerals, science, technology, including ICT. The president keeps talking about pillars for wealth creation. Therefore, you need to know those, and then pitch around those. That's where most of the money is. Remember, we are talking about monetizing your passion. If you go and pitch where there's no money, then why are you pitching? You are like screaming at a rock, and you want the rock to answer you back. I've talked about the people who you can approach. I started by saying you need to keep learning. This is part of it. I also learn. That's why I'm recommending that he shares. We are going to deal with the problem of quacks in journalism, but we also don't want to leave blood in the trail. So before that bill goes to Parliament, I wish maybe we could even have another one, Hesson. I could come and present it here. So you know, yeah. So I want to thank you so much for listening and for inviting me. I'm sorry I have to go. I have to go. Thank you, Hassan. Our doors are open. Our doors are open. Our phones are on. We have many meetings, but you can send me a message, and you know, and I'll reply. Sometimes I will take 7 hours, and you want to beat a deadline. So you have with us. My number is 0772 976 398. 0772 976 398. I am always happy. My best time is the evening. When I'm home, maybe reading a newspaper between like 6 and 9 p.m. We can chat. Now there's even a World Cup, but the matches are coming late, so I'm waiting for Ghana to come. But that is good time for me because here in office there are so many things that we do. I want to thank you and have the honor to open this and wish you good luck. And believe that you are also wishing me a safe journey to Nairobi. So thank you. May God continue to bless you.
A thunderous applause for the Commissioner, Communications, please. Commissioner, before you leave, these distinguished ladies and gentlemen have several media houses they work from. So they need business. And the business in government is in office. So whenever they come to your doorstep, please.
If you write a story, let me tell you that. If you write a story, and if you write a story, and we sit with the president and he says, I'm annoyed with this, I don't like what these people have done, how do you expect me to pick his money and give it to you? Even if he doesn't tell me. But you have also heard, sometimes he has read the story and says, oh, these guys, in fact, one of them, that's when now he said, okay, I read something good, so you can consider. But we work for him. I cannot shy away from that. Okay? We work for him. But you see, we also take our time to explain to him. In fact, we have been part of these meetings. You see, Excellence, a story has to go by 2 p.m., maybe print, what, the deadlines and what. Sometimes a journalist trusts the source because the journalist is not a magician. And sometimes people speak on the record and then they deny. So we also represent you and face him and defend. But there are things that get out of hand and they are not defendable. I would have mentioned a few, but that's not for today. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. We still have high hope in you because...
So where is my
Mr. Watasa, the new financial year is coming. But before you leave, give us at least 2 minutes. We'll have a pastor here to give you special prayers before you leave. You know, this is Adventist Media Association. So Pastor Perez, please come and pray for our man so that Prime Radio also gets business from government. Prime Radio is an Adventist radio at Chireka, and he is in charge. He's in charge of that radio. So he's going to give you prayers. So he's going to pray for you. Then you also give him business.
I hereby announce that I give you business, Pastor. The MD is here of Prime Radio. Okay. We want to pray for you. We want to thank you for the presentation. Now we want to pray for you. We can rise as we pray for him. Eternal God and Heavenly Father, we come to your presence this evening, thanking you, Lord, for the gift of life. We want to thank you, Lord, for your son here who has made a presentation to the Adventist Media Association. We want to thank you for calling him for such a time as this and using him in the different offices. The knowledge that he has passed on unto us, may you, Lord, help us to put it to good use, such that we may see the fruits coming forth. He has told us of his journey, Lord. We want to pray for traveling mercies. May you bless him as he always leaves his home to go and work. May you expand his territory. May you find favor before his supervisors, such that the next time he comes to present again to us, he may share a testimony that when we prayed for him, all that he was waiting for came to pass. This is a humble prayer in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you so much. The pastor will also lead you out as you leave, as you discuss more business. He has pledged to give business to the radio. The MD can also accompany him because he's direct. Akanamba akafune. This is why we have the media symposium, by the way. We are here to network and also create friends in the industry. Ladies and gentlemen, I continue welcoming each one of you that joined us and that has joined us. Those that joined us later, we started with a speech by the guest speaker who had notified us that he has a journey he's running to. So we excused him and he addressed us before the other presentations. But before we go further, we have had the arrival of another keynote speaker. I think he has stepped out shortly. Arafat Shafit, who works, he's there. Please give him a thunderous of applause. He works in the production team of the Nation Media Group, and to be specific, NTV. He is also one of the keynote speakers. Now, we did not introduce ourselves. To have another keynote speaker, I want us to have a marathon of introduction so that we know each one of you that is here. The commissioner has just told us that we should avoid masqueraders in the media industry. And there are so many that are trying to spoil the broth in the media industry. So I want another microphone. Mic check. This one is down. Check. Sebo Amos Nkwadom Omulimu ogwokutambuza akazindaala ako. After you have introduced yourself, let us be brief. You introduce your name, your workplace. The other issues we shall talk later. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Amos Sendon. I'm happy to see Mr. Abakaroa. The very first day I met with him is the very first day we became friends.
Oh, wow.
I work with Travel Sun Uganda, a tours and travel company. Soon I will be rich.
Sebo tambuza akazindaalo. Name, workplace. Name, workplace.
Good evening, members. I'm Srada Charles Koja, Omukombe Nume, working with Success FM and Lion Media Uganda Online.
Thank you, Success FM.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Saz Richard Maka, a news correspondent here in Kampala of 107.6 in Bona FM. That is in Tiana.
You're welcome to the media symposium. You can skip that one. He will introduce himself later.
Yes, good evening, everybody. I'm called Sekani Mwishidi. I write for Sky News Uganda Yugi. Yes. Sometimes also a host.
Okay, thank you so much. You first leave the production out. Let us first have these ones that are seated. Is the microphone on? It's not on. You can have this one. Mic check one.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Kato Mahed, working with Prime Radio.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Mulindwa Yusuf, working with Prime Radio as a news reporter.
Good evening, everyone. Buildings I Sing is my name. I'm a journalist by profession and a freelancer.
Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Jeff Sembiro. I work with BBS Telefina as a producer.
Good evening, I'm a family. My name is Walakila Tracy Naviteko. I work with APO Group, African Press Organization, as an account director in public relations.
Oh.
James Mrangwa Karisa is my name. I work with Vision Group.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Mwezi Joshua Lawel. I am not a journalist, but I work with the Agora Center for Research. I also host the NUP podcast. Thank you.
Well, we are with NUP in the building.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Lutaya Mohammed, a journalist working with Ready Media, same as working with the Core Technical and Business Institute.
Okay, pass the microphone.
Good evening to you all. Singoma Mosigepita is my name. It's a pleasure being amongst you here. Thank you.
Have you introduced your name?
Yes, Singoma Mosigepita.
Okay.
I thought he's from
You're a freelance journalist. Oh, all right.
Good evening, everyone. Segawa Patrick is my name. Nice to meet you all.
Okay, welcome, Segawa.
Hello, everyone. My name is Wilberforce Chisomba. I work in production of Avento, stroke 3ABN TV.
Welcome, 3ABN.
I'm Daniel Kajenza. Thank you so much.
Daniel Kajenza.
Good evening. Luanga Derek is my name. Hope Channel Uganda. Thank you. Hope Channel Uganda.
I don't know why it doesn't work on radio, because such sound, such voicing works better on radio, not TV. Anyway.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Magnifique Bill, President SD Zone X.
So we have so many presidents in this building.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Caleb Buyinza from Creative Village and K News.
Okay. K News.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I'm Harriet Nakalema. I work with
Vision Group.
I'm a reporter.
Okay. Welcome, Vision Group.
Good evening to you all. My name is Esther Kovsinj. I work with Avento Media.
3ABN. Oh, I know you, Esther. You're welcome.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Manake Julian, a student at Core Technical and Business Institute.
You're a student for what? Tailoring or what? Media. Okay.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Trizot Kwesi, a student at Core Technical and Business Institute. I'm just a student.
Oh, you're welcome.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nachembwe Priscilla. I'm a student at Uganda Christian University. I'm in my year 1 doing Bachelor's of arts in journalism and mass communication.
Well, you're in the right place.
I work with Mukono FM.
Oh, you're already employed. Wow. Skip my facilitator and go to the next one.
Good evening to everyone. My name is Kalinda Abdul Hakim, journalism student at Kowa Technical and Business Institute. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sandra Birunji. I work with Prime Radio.
Welcome.
Igero Richard Munamasaka, Prime Radio.
Webale kujja. Munamasaka. Wow.
Good evening, everyone. Wanji Baba. Okay. I'm Teacher Jackie. I work with Prime Radio in Hope Channel, Uganda.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nancha Lydia Magezi. I work with Prime Radio.
Well, thank you. Can I have my microphone? The one with the camera has not introduced himself, please.
Is single.
Vandang, era bituse wano. Joshua Labinesi. Wherever you go, they will.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Masayeka Joshua. I am the publicity secretary for this association. And I'm the managing director for LC Africa, the content factory.
Well, thank you so much. We are live on LC Africa. This symposium is proudly sponsored by Maganjo Grain Millers. Proudly but they are basic pay. We have people who are earning as much money from social media platforms. So social media has shifted from communication to a major income generating industry. How then do you grow your socials so that you can later earn? We are only talking about two things, growth and money. First of all, I also need to know how much time I have. 15, okay. First of all, let's start with something called niche. Those who went to good schools like my brother Joshua, they call it niche. To me, I went to a village school, so I call it niche. You need to find a niche or a niche, whatever you call it. And that niche should come from you as a human being. It starts with you. It starts with your passions. It starts with your hobbies. It starts with your work, your professional work, your business. Whatever you do, whatever you're passionate about, should determine what your niche on social media is going to be. When it comes from that background, it's going to be sustainable. If you just fake an identity on social media, you may not sustain it. Are we together? So you need to draw an identity out, a niche out of your own personality. What are you passionate about? I think most of us here, the bigger percentage are journalists. I've also seen students here. You could be doing journalism as, you know, it's just something you studied, but you're not passionate about it. I have told people that even when you are, that, I don't know, is it a hobby or what? That addiction can turn into content, can turn into your identity on social media. There's a gentleman that I follow on TikTok who eats pork. You know that gentleman? I don't know the name, but I always see him eat pork. And he has many followers. That is his niche, yes. There's other people who are dancing, other people. So what are you passionate about? That should be your starting point. What's your passion? Then what do? You should create an identity that when someone mentions the name Abu, the word photography should come, photojournalism, because that is his niche. We know him for that. That every day he wakes up to, you can always talk about other things, the trending stories and everything, but you should have a fallback position. That is your niche. I hope we are clear on that. So as you lay a foundation for your socials, the first brick or the first bar that you're going to put on that foundation is finding a niche that's generated from your own personality. That will give you sustainability, because you'll keep talking about something that you love to talk about. Number 2 is creativity. There are many things I can talk about, but I want to give you those that will help you boost your social media presence quickly. Don't do what everyone else is doing. Are the 15 minutes done? Hey. Okay. mbadde manyi drone ezze nga ngenda kudduka. So the creativity, there are things that we know that have been done. Everyone else is doing it. As a journalist, how different are you? How different is your reporting? How different is journalism? Can we see that on your socials? Can we see Nick touch? Because people get bored when they see what he's doing is what Abu is doing, is what Lawo is doing, it's the same content. You will grow your content because of how unique it is. I'll give an example of Kasuku. We were all watching podcasts on YouTube, and all of them Kasuku comes and he gives it a different vibe of podcasts. You can call it what you want, but it was unique. And that's why he got the attention and the, should I call it clout? The numbers he has. 4 years ago, he came with a unique concept. And you can see where he is. So unique, you need to be unique. That comes from creativity. You need to think and say, before I craft my content, what feature, I think this microphone also needs batteries. What unique feature can I add in my content so that it looks different, so that it attracts? Thank you. So the creativity really matters. You have to sit down and think. That's how you're going to grow your socials. I want to give you one last one and then talk about monetization, which is the most important aspect, isn't it? How we earn. Okay, there are quite a number here, but I'm trying to get what's... So, the quality of the content. Let's talk about quality. The quality of the content. If you're on X and you are a journalist who is reporting, that's your content, you're reporting. But what's the quality of your reporting? That includes so many things, the ethics, the sources of your information, the details, the statistics, the numbers, all these things allude to quality. The commissioner here was talking about the money that's there for journalists. But they will not give you if you're not investing in quality work. Even private organizations will not consider you for contracts if you're not giving quality work. If it's audio-visual content, I've been struggling with my colleague. By the way, I forgot to tell you, I also, we host podcasts, the Kampala Chats. Very soon you will see them on your YouTube channels and everything. We've been struggling with quality, and we've had, I think, 2 episodes now that we've agreed we are not going to release because the quality is not what we want. So some of you will just put anything out there, and then you start saying, hey, Zendi content creator, Zendichi. But the quality is not up there. And you see, the tricky bit with social media is that you are not competing with Ugandans alone. You are competing with the entire world. So why should I leave a high quality content from a South African or a Nigerian or an American and watch Abu who doesn't mind the quality of their content? So the quality is very key if you really want to grow your socials. Lastly is your audience. Who are you speaking to? You can't speak to everyone. You can't talk to everyone. You need to have an audience, a target audience. You can't speak to the whole country. These are things that you can go and make research about. As given little time, I want to talk about monetization. The other aspects of social media growth, you can follow me on X. We are always talking about those things. Gideon Nova Kwichiriza, we are always talking about them. But if you want personal touch, then you come through the N&L Digital Consultancy. I would charging Ayaka and we give you full package. Yes. The monetization bit, this is where I want us to go. There are three key major ways through which we are earning from social media. One is influencing. Have you heard of influencers? Yes. These are people who have big numbers on social media platforms, and they are hired by people who want to push whatever they want to push, products, services, campaigns, and everything, because they want visibility. That's one way we earn. And I can authoritatively say that social media is actually taking over the mainstream media. If you're keen, you can see that. It's because one of the reasons social media is taking over is the reach and how easy it is to track that reach. When I bring an advert to one of the media houses, it's very hard to know how many people have listened to that advert. But on social media, it's very clear. You even get instant feedback. If someone bought your product and they used it and it didn't work for them, they will give you instant feedback. Nova guno mzigo go. Then when someone likes it, they say, you're the best key. For me, that's what I've been getting. It's negative. But there's that instant, and the numbers, the analytics will show. If I make a post on my X, let's assume Abu gave me a gig and said, Nova, we have this event, we want visibility. He will go to my post and see how many views. He will see how many likes. He will see how many comments. And he will know how many people have been reached by the message, which is not in the mainstream media. So influencing is one of those. You just need to grow your numbers. But one thing I want to talk about influencing is the niche again. That's what we are failing on as Ugandan influencers. We influence everything. You can't influence soda today. The other day you're influencing for church. Another day you're influencing a bar. This day you're influencing pork. Then the other day you're pushing government content. How? You can't. If you really want to have a sustainable, I've said this to many influencers, if you want to have a sustainable influencing career, find a niche. I think the only people who are doing it well in Uganda are tourism influencers. Those are the people who are trying to keep in one direction. But they are also very few. But the rest of us, because you have numbers, you do that, you do this. No. We need to know you for something as an influencer. Like I said, everything that we do now can turn into content. If you love taking a beer, you're in a bar from Monday to Friday, why don't you turn that into content? Why don't you give us information about bars? Yes. You move with your camera to a bar, talk to the management and say, I want to talk about my experience in your bar. Let's know that for you, we go to Wereza, Chibala, Chikwata, Mukampala. It's this bar. Even the bar owners will know and they will start to hire you to come and you will start to drink beer for free. Yeah? If you go to church, I have not seen a content creator. You people are Adventists, I think many of you. But what information do we know about the Adventist church in Uganda? Personally, I don't know much apart from what I've... Can you turn that into your content? Your job is to tell us about the Adventist church. Is it a religion? I don't know if it is, that belief. So that you provide that content. That's your content. Buli muntu ayagala okumanya ku Adventist says, hey, you go to his YouTube channel, you go to his socials. If you love to be in the lodges, you are osomba nyo. I'm sorry, that's a joke. If you love to do that, then that can also turn into your content. If you're someone who is into travel like he is, what are you doing in that business? We don't know so many hotels in this country. You're always moving around this country. You're carrying a camera in your car. You have social media handles, but we know nothing about hotels. We know nothing about, So that is about social media influencing. The other aspect that I won't talk about so much is business, running businesses online, using your socials to run businesses. I am a living testimony. 99% of my clients are from X. Of the clients who buy my ghee, they are from X. I am getting into TikTok. I want to also be serious there. But the business is moving. It's not where I want it to be, but it's moving only because of X. There are people, let me say this as I finish the issue of businesses online. There are people, Abu, you go to Kampala, you pay rent for a shop, you put in clothes for men. A Nova comes, he has his following, he says, Abu, amasato gakoma mmeka. Mugamba nga 12 naga, hey, okay, saba kutundirako. Mugamba yinze kasitompe zange, as long as you give me my 25,000 on each shirt. The guy goes to his WhatsApp status, his TikTok, his X, he puts the shirts at 50. And he's making deliveries. Or people buy convenience. People want the things to find them at their offices, at their homes. So this guy is making 25,000 on every shirt. And for you, the owner of the shop who is paying rent, taxes, and everything, you are getting 5,000. And the guy goes, if he can only sell 5 shirts a day, how much is that? 125 is a million shirt plus a month. The guy goes home, he buys data, you also buy data while you pay rent. So you will not even know how this person earns money. Hey, mwana nyambieko okutunda. Akuyambieko naye ogulwa ne rent. The guy doesn't pay anything apart from data. So that's the business side. Now, this is the last one that I want to talk about that's very important. The creator revenue share. Need I repeat? Creator revenue share. So what is creator revenue share? Creator revenue share is a portion of the money that digital platforms generate from advertisers, advertising companies, and share with the content creators. So, digital platforms, YouTube, X, TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, what they sell is actually what the mainstream media sells. It's advertisement. Your business yabwe. Wolaba YouTube, wolaba genda konolaba, you don't know what they are doing there. They are selling advertisement, just like TV. Yeah? So, when they get money from an advertising company, it is fair, it is only fair enough, they thought it fair enough, that you, the content creator, who is the medium through which they reach specific markets. Because if you had not opened an X account, if you hadn't opened a YouTube channel, then there is no way the advertiser would have reached the Ugandan market. So the moment you start to post your content, because you also invest time in your content, whether it's a write-up, whether it's audiovisual, the moment you start to post,
YouTube or X gets a chance to have their adverts on your content. So you are the medium through which digital platforms and the advertising companies reach that specific market. That is why they say it is only fair enough that whatever we earn as a digital platform, we should get a small portion and share with an Abu in Uganda who helped us through his content to reach the Ugandan market. That is why when you're on X and you go to your comment section, you'll find an ad, isn't it? When you open a YouTube video, a YouTube channel, a YouTube video, you will see those ads that you normally skip. Please stop skipping those ads. YouTube does not pay for your content. They don't care. They pay for their adverts to be seen. So I'm telling you so that even you who have YouTube channels, please tell your people to watch those adverts. The more they watch, the more dollars you get. So that is what we call creator revenue share. And in Uganda currently, it's only YouTube and Facebook where you make that money and earn it directly. On X, which are visible. The reason we are not earning on X, I was explaining to the commissioner, and I'm glad he welcomed the idea. We are going to have a meeting so that we can see how the government can intervene, because it's typically government that should come through. So, but I want to, I was talking about X. So X, as a digital platform, hired a fintech company called Stripe to process the creator revenue shares of all content creators in the whole world. Let's assume I have a poultry farm, Nunda Nkoko. Yeah? So I get so many birds on my farm that I am overwhelmed with the number of eggs that I produce. And I don't have the capacity to reach the market because I want to concentrate on the birds. So what I do is I will go and hire a distribution company. I don't want to advertise them for free. I will not mention there are some I know. But let's assume it's Abu's distribution company. So I hire them and say, you are going to help me reach the market, sell the eggs. You have this percentage of every egg that you sell. So we have an exclusive contract. It is only Abu distributors that can pick eggs from my poultry farm. So Abu goes and looks for the market, distributes, and that is how we work. So X, as a company, decided to stay on the maintenance of the application and hired a fintech company called Stripe to help them process the creator revenue share and remit it to the creators in the whole world. So what Stripe did in 2020, they realized that there is a market in Africa, and they wanted to also reach and start to pay creators in Africa. So what they did, they also bought a Nigerian fintech company called Paystack. So it is Paystack. Paystack is the African operational arm of Stripe. If you go to our neighbors here in Kenya or Rwanda, you'll find the office, Paystack. Those are that's that processes payments on behalf of X. Now the problem is, in Kenya they are served, in Uganda we are not. In Rwanda they are served, in Uganda we are not. That doesn't mean that we don't earn. X recognizes us as a platform. I want you to get the difference so that when as journalists, you know exactly what to write about. Because we are pushing this advocacy. We also want to earn this money. It's not that X doesn't consider, X as a platform considers us. But the fintech company, the company that processes our payments is not operational in Uganda. they need to have to be approved by the government, specifically Bank of Uganda and ICT, to get that approval and start to operate here. Just like you can call it, say, like MoneyGram, the way MoneyGram works, yeah? But MoneyGram would not have worked here if the government had not authorized it. So when they are authorized, they come and integrate with the local banks. When your money comes, the creator revenue share comes, you just go to your bank and withdraw the money. What is happening is that for us, you have to look for a Kenyan or someone in Rwanda or in another country where Stripe is supported. Then they will process your money and send it to you on mobile money. And that's where N&L Digital Consultancy comes in. For now, we are tailoring that solution. We can help you to process your money and give it to you. And we are already doing it for many. So that's a problem with X. For YouTube, it's okay. Now, the creator revenue share, as I conclude, the creator revenue share depends on your activity on your digital platforms, on your socials. How much do you invest? So, for example, on X, they pay between $8 to $12 per 1 million impressions. Per 1 million impressions. So it's a lot of work. He said, Mfuna Sentenga never say, it's not true. You have to think. You have to think and create content that attracts engagement. For you to qualify to start earning creator revenue share on X, you need 500 verified followers, which I believe Abu already has, I don't know, on X. And you need 5 million impressions in 3 months. Impressions, you can say, likes, views, comments, what, every person who goes through your page and sees. Those are the impressions. So you need 5 million in 3 months for you to start earning. As I conclude, I want to inform you that there are young Ugandans who are earning as much as $2,000 per month. $2,000 is 7 million shillings, isn't it? Tubeere bamazima bameka abazifuna wano mu ruumu eno buli mwezi. Emirimu gye tukola nange nga mwendi ndowooza MD eka. Yeah? 7 million shillings. The person who is earning that money is paying the same amount of data that you pay. You probably have a more expensive phone than they do. But they are earning 7 million shillings. From X alone, X yoka. Nze kamwa kwogera, I earn about $300 to $500 per month. Ntono. But wouldn't you want that money? Yeah, if you can get 1 million shillings a month. Ngozije ku X yoka. I know people on YouTube who are earning as much as $5,000 per month. YouTube. Yeah? I don't know. $5,000. On YouTube, it's called the YouTube Partner Program. They also have their own requirements that you need to hit and start earning. May YouTube bafunane $5,000. I know people are earning money from Facebook as much as $2,000 to $5,000 per month. So, ladies and gentlemen, social media is employment. Tebabalimba nti okubeera ku social media hii nayo omusajja omukulu obeera otya ku social media all the time. Bwe mba nfuna million 7 ngamba ki? Ng'omukulu munnange ofuna mmeka gy'okola? Yes, I am making money. I'm not stealing. Lastly, as you earn money, you need to know that Uganda has laws. You'll be excited, you start earning, otandika okuvuma abantu, otandika okupostinga whatever. I'm not saying that you don't have your freedom. You have your freedoms, but you need to be cognizant of the laws of the country as you look for that money. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to request each and every one of you in this room, when you leave today, please go and invest in your socials. It is the future. Digital platforms are the future, and the future is now. You don't want to be left behind. Please go and improve your socials. I want the next time I'm invited, I want to hear testimonies. Hey, I went, I'm now earning this much, I'm earning this much. Yeah, so that when we meet, you buy me coffee and food and those things, of the money that you will have earned. Thank you so much. Have a good evening.
Asante sana. Yongeza tena. We are giving only chance to only 2 people that have questions. 2 people, only 2. And the question must be short and precise. Do you have any? Babitegede. There is one here from K News.
Thank you, Mwami Nova. My name is Amos. Kabuzo katono nnyo, I will use Uganda. Buno bu ads buno bwogambye bwe buleeta ssente. Kitegeeza bwe nkaddusa nfuba okulaba nkavaawo nze naye bye njagala. Speed eyo gye nkozesa oba towaninga. When you skip, you try skipping, not skipping. Kubanga olumu bwe tubikula YouTube ng'olina ekintu kyoyagala ku speed. Oyagala kaveewo, bumbunyiiza n'okunyiiza. Oyagala okakuoneko kaveewo. Kitegeeza bwe nkakoonako ku speed to earninga. So I must watch nkalabe konna. Bwe kiba bwe kityo tuba tulabye.
Okay, if I may add clarity. Akalango ako ke mulaba. Kanchidde mu Luganda kuba mbuuliza mu Luganda. Akalango ako ke mulaba ka add. YouTube ono content creator yataddeyo video ye. Temusasula lwa content wembo mulungi nnyo. Tebafaayo ku content wo. Bo basasula kalango kaabwe kubanga ono yabawadde ssente bakuba akalango kalabibwe nnyo. Oba munfuna? Oli yataddeko akalango ayagala bakalabe. Ate g'okaddusa. Normally they are less than 30 seconds. So kawo obudde bw'obanga oyina attachment ku channel eyo gy'oli mu kulaba. Oba ng'olina omutima omulungi oyagala munnaafune. Akalanga ako kaleke kagweyo olabe content. Weeteze. Abanaagenda okulaba akalango ka LC Africa. Temubuuka oba K News oba Nova Conversations ye YouTube channel yange. Bwe mugendako temubuuka bulango. Mubulabe mbumaleeyo ne bwe kajja wakati kaleke kagweyo wefuula atakalabye awo LC Africa eba efuna akasente. There is another question.
Ekibuuzo nina ekisemba. Nasabye bibiri byokka because chai eri kumpi kuwola.
Thank you so much. Again, I'm Priscilla. And my question, okay, it's not a question. I don't know how I can phrase it, but we have a problem, most especially people of our generation. When I was listening to you, you talked about us finding our interests. Let's find our interests on what we are supposed to do when we are creating content on social media. But we have a problem that people of our generation are not interested in things that make sense compared to things that don't make sense. So me as a journalist, I'm told to give verified information. And if I decide to open my social media platform, I want to put verified information. But then I get to a point that people are not going to be interested in what I want. People want to know the other side. And this is how I'm going to get views. This is how I'm going to get follows. And I'm so sure that the reason as to why we get false information on social media, it's because this is what people want to hear. This is what people want to know. If, for example, we have a scenario of no one knows where Kataham 7 is, but then we are having
we
information
know where she is
of,
now.
all right, thank you. We had information of her being dead. This information was circulating because this is what people wanted to hear. We have that big problem. So me as a journalist, I want to be known, I want to be popular. How am I going to prevent myself from circulating mal or misinformation, but then I want to get to the top?
Well, thank you so much. Sebo, that is the last question we are receiving. But we know where Janet is, eh?
Thank you so much, Priscilla. I don't want to even mention that name. Mundeke. I have had enough problems. So, let's make Abuabi Mani. Let's maintain it. Priscilla, that's a very interesting question, striking balance between growth and professionalism or ethics. What I can say is we must not succumb to pressures from those people who watch our content. Yeah? Because the question should be sustainability. Ezo likes zono nyamukulimba, is it sustainable? For how long are you going to lie? Or to fake stories or share misinformation, disinformation? For how long? It's not sustainable. If you look at brands on social media that have been there for so long, they are brands that have kept the professional line. So it's a war actually that we are fighting, and we must not lose it. We must keep fighting. We must keep speaking up for professionalism to thrive. We must keep. Otherwise, if we all succumb to gamba, wali likes fenaka tugende, then we shall lose it.
So where does Lumbuye follow?
I don't want to discuss individuals.
Anyway.
I don't know where he falls. But you see, we have potential threats. Facebook is still banned in Uganda. You don't want to wake up and YouTube and X and everything is banned. Which I know my government very well. They can do it. That's if we all decide to put professionalism aside and go for likes and money and everything. So you can grow a professional brand and still get a following. You need that organic following actually for anything. That's why I've been telling brands that want influencers. Mbona ina 500,000 followers or ina 1 million, then we should know. There are people who have fewer numbers but command what we call influence. Someone has 20,000 followers, but when they speak, the entire timeline notices. And then another person has 1 million followers, but when they speak, no one responds. Why? How did they attain that following? If you attained it in posting nudity, then when you post sense, no one is going to watch. Bakwagalango posting a nudity. That's why they followed you. Thank you so much.
Okay, let us clap for Nova. I have seen several people earning from X, and every end of 14 days, you know, these guys, they throw the screenshots all over X and show you how they are earning. Social media, but we are also coming, we are joining you. So ladies and gentlemen, we prepared something for you. You can call it evening tea. It is ready. We shall serve ourselves as we continue, because this will be working tea. We shall not break off for tea, but it is ready. Bobo ulidanga alam yakabieda, you walk there, pick something, come to your table, and we continue in the interest of time. Is that okay? Those in, say aye. Or we break off for tea for about 10 minutes. Is that okay? Okay. It seems the majority of you want us to break for tea for 10 minutes, but let them be 10. Yeah? So ladies and gentlemen, let us break off for 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes, utilize them properly, and then we come back with Abu Luhoa from Daily Monitor, the man who was beaten thoroughly in the by-election in Kawempe, but we are with him tonight. So we pray for the meal, okay? Jackie should pray for the meal. Jackie, pray for the meal.
Father, we thank you for the eats we are going to it. Bless them as we are going to have them. In the mighty name of Jesus Christ, I've prayed.
Right. It's self-service.
Mu mutima gwa Uganda mulimu ekimera eky'enjawulo era nga kigiddwamu omutindo ogusukkulumye. Eŋŋano ya jiko nga ekolebwa ab'amaganjo grain millers. Kola ebyokulya eby'omulembe nga okozesa jiko owoomerwe ne famiri yo ne ku mikolo gyo. Yimusa omutindo gw'enfumba yo oyimuse essanyu lyo nga okozesa eŋŋano ya jiko. Ekolebwa ab'amaganjo grain millers. Eŋŋano ya jiko evaamu ebyokulya ebiwooma nga byagalwa. Woomerwa akaseera konna nga okozesa eŋŋano ya jiko. Maganjo grain millers, feeding nations. Mu mutima gwa Uganda mulimu ekimera eky'enjawulo era nga kigiddwamu omutindo ogusukkulumye. Eŋŋano ya jiko nga ekolebwa ab'amaganjo grain millers. Kola ebyokulya eby'omulembe nga okozesa jiko owoomerwe ne famiri yo ne ku mikolo gyo. Yimusa omutindo gw'enfumba yo oyimuse essanyu lyo nga okozesa eŋŋano ya jiko. Ekolebwa ab'amaganjo grain millers. Eŋŋano ya jiko evaamu ebyokulya ebiwooma nga byagalwa. Woomerwa akaseera konna nga okozesa eŋŋano ya jiko. Maganjo grain millers, feeding nations. Mu mutima gwa Uganda mulimu ekimera eky'enjawulo era nga kigiddwamu omutindo ogusukkulumye. Eŋŋano ya jiko nga ekolebwa ab'amaganjo grain millers. Kola ebyokulya eby'omulembe nga okozesa jiko owoomerwe ne famiri yo ne ku mikolo gyo. Yimusa omutindo gw'enfumba yo oyimuse essanyu lyo byagalwa. Woomerwa akaseera konna nga okozesa eŋŋano ya jiko. Maganjo grain millers, feeding nations. Mu mutima gwa Uganda
your journalism. Mine is going to touch almost on social media and then touch on the journalism, like the real journalism you're doing. So I'll be touching here and there. I'm lucky that the company I work with has so many, let me call them outlets. We have the social media, we have 2 radios, we have 2 TVs. Actually, we also have 2 papers in Nyanda, then Daily Monitor. We have KFM, we have Dembe FM, we have NTV, and then we have Spark TV. We also have East African newspaper. So that's NMG, and they give us a chance to at least contribute to all the platforms. But how do you make money from the work that we are doing? One of the things about media is, like someone said here, it's a calling. It's rare to find a rich journalist, by the way. It's rare. If you know of one, you can tell me. Do you know any rich journalist in this country? Okay. Ruanga. Okay. May God give you what they are saying. So we really don't have those rich journalists, but at least we have journalists who can earn something at the end of the month and who can be able to sustain their families, who can be able to share with others. And we have a group that is totally down. The struggling journalists. Me, I'm not a struggling journalist, if I may say, but I'm not a rich journalist. But I'm in between there. In between there. Why? One thing that we normally forget as journalists is building a brand. You're already working with a brand, but how have you built your own brand? As you're busy building your boss's brand, how have you built your own brand? How do people see you? That's what we mean by building a brand. Are you a begging journalist? That when a minister sees you, you say, that guy is back. Then he takes the next sharp corner, that's what he takes. The musicians know you. The business community knows you. Ministers know you. But they all know you for one thing. Honorable. Tumaliriza nayenze ngenda, nayenze ntya. Like, the assignment is done. I want to leave. But other journalists are already going. Just go with them. You get? But you are there telling the minister, Honorable, we are done and I'm going. Yes, you know, still you don't sleep in his office. So you need to go. How do you build your brand as a journalist? That's one of the key things that we need to do. One, how do you dress when you're going for an assignment? It doesn't matter whether you're a reporter, whether you are a photographer like me, whether you're a camera person like him, whether you're a radio journalist, how do you dress? You know, we normally tend not to focus on those things, how you dress, because it gives you a chance to approach so many people. There are people who don't want to associate with dirty people, by the way. Your hygiene matters. We're not going to have a discussion where I have to keep looking the other way when you're talking. So next time you come, same thing. So you've killed your brand there and then. This guy will never want to associate with you. This guy will never have time for you. And he will think you're not serious. So build that brand that everybody will want to associate with. Build that brand that whenever a minister finds you, is the one actually to call you. Hey, Mayanja, where are you? Today when I didn't come, oh, I'm seeing your friends here. I thought you were around. No, I'm not around. Okay, next time. So build a brand that even when a minister doesn't see you, they miss you. So by so doing, that's when you can ask for serious interviews. That's when you can talk to serious people. That's when your editor will assign you to a serious assignment. There reached a time, these things covering the president have just changed, where you have to send in names a day before or a week before, and then they screen and what. So you know that tomorrow or on Sunday, Saturday, I'll be covering the president. Before they would, in the morning, MZ has a press conference, send names, and then they take their cameras, those who are the photographers or videographers, and radio people take their recorders to Okero House, and then in the evening you are at State House. So imagine you are in your damaged jeans, what? The editor won't look at you. They look for someone who's well-dressed. If you're a lady, the kind of skirt you're putting on is very short, you know? I think some of you have been to places where you've been told to buy a lace and you tie around yourself. Who has gone through that kind of experience? Where you're told to buy a lace and then you wrap yourself. So next time you go there, you already know. But anyway, we need to build personal brands before we even start thinking about having YouTube channels, before we start. Because one, you have to use the media house that you're working with as, should I call it, we have bosses here, but I'll say it. Yeah? Your address. And the bosses will agree. They are not giving us enough money, but at least they are giving us some money. So we are also going to use your media houses to push our personal brands. So you need to build a brand, and it doesn't matter which media house you're working with. I've been with Nation Media since 2012. Some of you, I think, were even at campus. But I gave it time for myself, and I've been working tirelessly until some international media houses saw my work, and then I didn't apply. They had to talk to me to work with them. So if I was this person who just runs around, you get. What are you doing? If you're a photographer, give it time. If you're working on TV, when you go to voice your story, you just do it chap. Me, I want to go. I want to go and rest. I want to go and be with my wife. I want to go and be with my children. Yes, fine, you will go. But at the end of the day, you will not be with this media house for the next 20 years, next 15 years, or next 10 years. Even the media house will only retain you when you have value that you are adding on them. what value are you adding on your company that you are working with? If you're not adding any value, then it means you are doing a disservice to yourself, and you're also not adding value to yourself. Because you can't work with a media house for 10 years and still, like the company can't trust you with serious assignments. Imagine you've been there as a senior reporter. I don't want to call you a senior reporter when they don't trust you, but you've been there for, let me say, even 3 years. Feel more confident in an internee than you. Guys, that's challenging, by the way. You can even commit suicide. You're like, but these are things I've been doing. How come the editor is sending an intern? First, check yourself. The brand you've built only ends at a press conference of a ministry. They can't send you to break a story, let me say Minister of Health, Ebola in Uganda. You can't even remember the statistics of very few years back of what has been happening around. So let's try to build brands. When you build a brand, it will actually help you to build your own brand. Some of you have YouTube channels. When you look at the kind of headlines you're writing, that catchy headline, so the moment someone watches something, when the headline is reading something else, and what they are watching is totally different from what they are reading. WhatsApp groups, very many. I even have colleagues here who have their WhatsApp groups. I'm always there, and I keep watching. There's so many WhatsApp groups. Someone will just scroll. Headlines. Actually, some of us even take the initiative. This headline, like in the morning, Obiwaini bimunyiziza, kalangala, ganyose, simayabichi. I was with a guy in Kampala yesterday. He just watched on TV, by the way. So when you watch, you only see people in a line lining up, voting. And if you, like what Nova has told you here, if you start feeding people with wrong information, that's the brand you've built. That one is a liar. And they will take you that way. So build brands that tell facts. Build brands that people want to associate with. Build brands that will get you money. The other thing is, sometimes we see others working, but you never know how they are doing what they are doing. Do you know what we do? We go and start copying whatever they are doing. You just copy. You don't even have knowledge of how they are doing it. We are just copying whatever we are seeing. Someone has, let me say, the tagline has red. You don't know why they are using red. You just copy, you put red everywhere. Then sometimes you put yellow. Ask them, why are you using that color? You may find that among his target audience, someone talked about your target audience, the niche. Among the target audience that he or she has are people who love red. You've covered a press conference at NRM, then you put red around it. And you get? So these guys will be annoyed and will be like, you can't come here and then you start popularizing other political parties. You know, now, nowadays the challenge we have, even now the microphone I have here, you give it to one MP and you'll be like, pulls this off. Why? They don't associate with red. Now you've done their press conference and you are busy splashing it around with red. You are busy splashing it around with yellow or blue or any other color that is affiliated to some other political parties. So always ask people, how do you do it? Why have you done this? And please, if you know something and someone asks you, don't pretend as if you're from heaven. Byangu fe tubikolanga just kugira mbugizi takubuulira we bagira mbugizi. Just kugira mbugizi nga kiri okay. Let's try to work with others. If you want to do voicing of TV, I've seen people copying other people's voices. Because everybody is talking about, so let me give an example of my friend, even if he's not here, and I know he won't be annoyed. People love Solomon Kawes, how he voices. And then you also go and start, you know? So, what brand are you building? Are you still building Solomon Kawesa or are you building yourself? The moment you start mimicking others, one will be like, am I watching NTV or am I watching live TV? You get? So, copy the way he packages his story. Copy what he is doing. And then, you also use your own voice. You don't need to use his tonation. I'll give you an example. One day I covered a story, still with Kawesa, and it was a press conference. But the way the guy started the story, it's as if I wasn't even there. He started from 10 years back, showing history of 10 years back. Then the story was in Kampala. He went to Mukono. From Mukono, he gave an example from Jinja, then Masaka, then he came back to the press conference. In the middle of the press conference, he then touched things, like the way he built his story was totally different from what happened at the press conference, but he still gave the message that happened at the press conference. Who wouldn't love to watch their story if they invite you for such a function? Who wouldn't want? Someone builds a story around what you've said, gives statistics, an accurate one, and then, you know, he tells the whole story. But now, for you want to copy only the voice, you don't want to copy other things. Copy these other things, how someone builds a story, and then use your own voice. Because there will be no difference between you and the person you are watching. And Solomon Kawese. So, you are pushing his brand. Have your own niche. Use your own voice. In photography, because because you're standing somewhere, and then this person thinks, where he's standing, I think that's where there is a better picture. But doesn't know what you're looking for. I've seen colleagues, they come where you are standing, and then they even start pushing you. I always tell them, guys, I was here first. They just look at you like this, and then they continue with what they are doing. You don't know whether I've taken all the pictures the other side that you haven't even taken. That's why I'm here waiting. You know? Ask me. Because me, I always tell people that you may not do what I'm doing now, but at least after some few years, if you have the knowledge of doing what I'm doing, you'll be able to do it. You can't skip some stages and you think you'll be there. So I'm trying to build how you can build a brand so that you can become attractive to many people and then they get you. I've talked about copying people's voices. There are people who want to be good journalists, yet they don't even want to watch a single story on TV. Even their own stories, by the way. after they are someone goes, they look for business, they call you Abu. In introduction ku weekend yagamba lwakutaano. In introduction ku Saturday. And you're like, but Chief, you didn't tell me. But anyway, I will come. Because I know you need to go and start thinking about what to take. I know what to do. So someone suffers, they look for business. You are in office seated. And when time reaches, you go, you execute, and you give him. He would even come with his memory card. So I just put the memory card, I start shooting after I give him his card. One thing that kicked me out of weddings, there's a guy who was being taken to prison, and I was assigned by office to take his photos. So after some time, I find him seated among the father, patata bomwana. And I was like, now, how do I start? It was funny, but that's when I started losing hope in wedding photography. The people, okay, some of them think that we harass them when we are out there, but we are doing our job. But the people you find out there who have committed crimes, and now the people you are finding at weddings. Yes, you expose them, then you find, yes, they are your clients now. So I remember, it was actually Jamwa. I don't know if you people remember Jamwa. Yes, when he was taken back to prison, then after he got whatever. So I found him at a wedding, and he was part of the parents of the... So that's how I jumped out of... But you can do documentary photography. You document different things. Sometimes you've seen people at, let me say, a ministry has a function, or in Munyonyo, someone comes very early, takes pictures of people, then frames them, prints and frames when the minister is getting out to sell to them. But there are people who will tell them that, no, I don't need your photos. At least I'll get my photos. They normally get those photos from us. Yes. You print it, you take it, you print it. Yeah, like you communicate to either the PA or what, because you don't just print and then. That's another way of putting yourself down. You just show up someone whose office and you're like, Honorable, I have your picture. How? Did I tell you? Do you have an appointment with him? No, but I've brought his picture. Then when you enter, they see a very unserious human being. So you need to put all those factors in when you're doing that. And sometimes some of you look at pictures as, you know, very small things. But on a good day, a picture can give you 500,000, just one picture. We know people in journalism who don't even get 500. A whole month. You get? So we shouldn't underlook some of those things, but they come once in a while. You can also, you know, you send those soft copies to people. So this is how we can use our journalism or our expertise to get some money. You know, you tell someone, I'm giving you your soft copy, and then you send me money. And people really pay, by the way. You just need to be good at what you're doing. Remember recently, BBC was looking for some pictures. So someone contacted me. I sat in office, I looked for pictures. I gave them like 15 pictures. So they used one. I felt bad because I wasted my time. Then time for paying me came, and each picture was $50. So they told me, write an invoice. I told the guy, I can't sit and write an invoice of $50. Yeah. I told him, tell them to put that money on your money and then you'll pay me when. Up to now, he told me, you know what? You need to write your own invoice. I told him, okay, you'll see it, I'll send. Up to now, I've never sent it. But I don't regret. Why? You know, like, they didn't value my time. Huh? Someone needs to value, you people, if you don't value yourself, no one is going to value you, by the way. Maybe that's one thing I know. So next time they come for pictures, they know, that guy, you use one picture, so they make sure at least they give you enough money. That was a time we are headed for the 2021 elections. There is an agency called Anadolu Agency. It's in Turkey. I had worked for them before, and then they hadn't paid. And they wanted to come back and give me more assignment for that election. I told them, by the way, we last worked when you were giving me this kind of money. I've now doubled. They were like, but they needed the pictures because they knew I would deliver. Are you that one person who delivers, or people who keep calling? You remember those days in cameraman ukuchala amala kugira bamugamba why ne bamugamba nabagamba ebifaananyi nabiweereza Nairobi naweereza negative in Nairobi. Some of you haven't seen didn't see even negatives. Film actually film najiweereza Nairobi. If you don't deliver, then there is also another problem. So they knew I would deliver. I told them I've doubled, and then you have to pay the balance that was there. So after paying the balance, the government switched off the internet and I didn't work, but I had gotten my money anyway. So you need to be people who deliver. There are people writing books. Now I go to the writers. How many of you have ever thought of writing a book for someone? None. One person. Do you know that there are people there who have stories but can't write? There are ministers who have gone through a lot but can't write their own stories. Okay, they can write, but they can't sit there and, they're always up and down and what. So your business is to go there. I don't know if you've seen that Kizabes J book that was written by Daniel Kalinaki. Kalinaki got a lot of money from that USJ book. People editing other people's magazines for the writers, if you are good at writing. It doesn't matter whether it's Luganda or English. So, you use your good Luganda to write a book. There's so many books, by the way, you see about people's lives and everything. It's not them who sit down and write. They are written by people, and then, after writing, they hand over the book to the owner. And they are given some good money. Interest someone into writing books. Why don't you write a book? Why don't you write? Every time he sees you, you even start hiding, and at one point you'll be like, you know what? Let's sit and we talk about this book. So you are a writer, you are writing for a newspaper. The only thing you are looking at are press conferences, the minister said this, minister, honorable. You need to write the books for these people, the honorables that you're always talking with. No newsroom is going to give you money to pay school fees for your 3 kids. It's not there. These are the things that we are doing. That's the only way of getting money. Me, sometimes I wear like this and go and cover tear gas. And then someone tells you, ekikubisizaamu ekkooti n'ogenda mu tear gas n'omugayi nzijja mu tear gas nzizzaayo ko ziwulire ku tear gas gye nazijja. Okay, so let's interest people into doing some things. Writers, now it's your turn, I'm talking about the writers. There are people who have social media accounts but can't write good English. Tell them, I want to be your manager. I want to manage your media, your social media account. Interest them. Show them the good in having good written submissions on a topic. But as you're doing that, you need to read a lot as a person. You can't just start writing for people when you don't read, because you need a lot of information so that you can, put in your writing. Then I have the videographers. Videographers, I think nowadays we see these small clips of people. That's where you come in. Guys, let's utilize the phones that we have. The only thing you use your phone for, hey dear, where are you? Tugende mu kachai. That's when you only use your phones to talk to girls, to rumamonga girls, rumamongaling. That's when your phone slaying, taking videos with filters, what? Those small clips you see. I don't know if, is there anyone who covers Parliament here? Who knows Muzanganda? Yes. Muzanganda is always, by the way, they are at Parliament recording MPs are giving what, and then they give him money. He's not stealing. He's not begging. He's earning out of his sweat. The small clips. The ministers talking, they don't have even a single camera person around. Record and then talk to their PA and you're like, I have honorable speech. Can you give me some money? And then I share. And then he posts on the, the ministry social media platform. You even show them where they can post this video. Interest them with examples. Don't just throw it to them. I can give him the video. I don't know if he wants to put on his status. Show them where you want to put these videos, by the way. You will
House to Comrade Abubakar. One, we want to thank you for your time and the very good discussion and remarks you've given to us here. You know, we know we're running out of time, but we at least have almost one guest speaker left. And if I'll give at least 1 or 2 minutes for anyone who has a comment or a question arising from the presentation of Abu Baker. Waliwo inawe ekibuuzo? Byonna mbitegedde bulungi? Kale ssebo. Okay, he will answer that quickly and then we move.
One, you need to look for partners. Abantu abenjawulo boyinza okupatanalinga nabo ng'okola akatabo ebiseera ebisinga be bayambako. Then ekirala bw'oba weewandiikidde ggwe nga ggwe, sometimes you need money okutandika ekintu kino. Oba otandika, you start small. Oba okozesa mikwano gyo. Like, we need friends around us in most cases. No munyinywa no mugambo manyi siinamu as of now. But wekinaaba kifulumye. Naye nnyini asobola okutunula mu waaka n'agamba waako nno najja kutambula. But then also trust. Omusajja amala okuyamba n'akutuulira mu kintu, w'ofuluma todda. Nga kimaze okuyita. Kale abantu bababbye nnyo by the way. Era ebiseera ebisinga oli agasooka ompeeko z'ompadde. At least ne bw'ananziba aleme atwaleko nviiri naye ekiwowoola akireke. So we need partnership. But then you also need to build trust with people. And then n'omunnyonnyola n'omugamba. There are people who still want to help. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I want... Who? Jeff? Kamugambe walieri. Peje mubiri nga tuvaawo. Okay, let's... can we stand up a little bit and stretch? I know it's been... It's been long. One arm distance take, can you stretch and put your hand on the shoulder of the person in front of you? Yes. Just do it like this. Ama oye. All right, let's sit down. As we sit down, we put our hands together to welcome our comrade, the very last speaker, Comrade Shav. Please come take your 15 minutes and we get out of here. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'd written a speech, but I like things of freestyling, so allow me freestyle. First of all, I'd like to correct Wambari. My name is Arafat Shafiq. He said I work with production, but I work with the newsroom. I work with editorial. I'm a producer of NTV Tonight, TV Weekend Edition, morning at NTV and NTV on the spot. So that's who I am in brief. Sorry. I said I want freestyle, so pardon me. Okay, my name is Arafat Shafiq, and I've introduced myself as I am. I've been called here to talk something to do with building career from, scratch to elevating to greater heights. Let me first of all start with a brief story just to shake us up, because I've seen students here, and one of my greatest memories in school was when we were on a sports day. We had a gentleman, he was slightly a class above me. He was called Saul, but in Uganda we used to call him Saulo. So he was a runner. We used to run marathons and stuff. I was personally a sprinter, 100 meters and 200, but for him he was a marathoner. So the gentleman had tied his trousers, his shorts, with a fiber, banana fiber. And he was running, so he was in the lead, and girls were chanting, Saulo, Saulo. But the fiber got cut, and the gentleman wanted still to win. So he continued running, but he was holding his shorts. Eventually, when the chants went ablaze, and the people were coming close to him, he decided to let the pants go for a win, and you can imagine how the girls were. Saulo, Saulo! And that memory sticks with me, and whenever I hear about something to do with school, it triggers because it was a fond memory. And that I'm talking about was at school, a school where I started my primary 7 from, which is also affiliated to the Church of Uganda. So Church of Uganda has done a great job on me. Even right now, it is doing a great job on me because I declined so many opportunities to present, and this is the first one I'm taking on. So thank you very much. First, I'm going to begin with, many people have been talking about content creation, bridging the gap and etc. I personally would appear to be a little man, someone you'd bypass. In fact, one time, Audrey Kurabugo was coming to look for me. He had a business, but spoken on phone. He phoned me at Serena outside, actually, and he bypassed me. So when he reached inside, he was like, I've come here to talk to Arafat, but you call him for me. To his surprise, the gentleman who he had bypassed was the gentleman he was speaking to. But my point here is to stay humble. Number one, if we want to be anywhere in life, the first thing is to stay humble. And it works in tandem with discipline. So discipline is key. You do not have to elevate yourself just because you're somewhere, or use your kind of position to reach somewhere, because it is not good. Bob Lucky Dube said that you use the people to reach up the ladder and you let them go, but you will need them when you're falling. So you need to stay humble as you're elevating, because you never know when you need these guys. The reason, by the way, why I accepted this particular invite to speak, and I turned down many, is because Bwambari, when he was still in ICT, he pulled a lot of strings for me, a lot. So I had to pay. It was part of paying back, but it is also part of working together, because when someone does good for you, you also do good for them. So staying humble is one of the key pillars from building from scratch to up. If I could tell you what I've done that many people don't know, you would be shocked. But it is me who has done it, and I don't take pride in it, because it is only a fool who takes pride in their talent. If you're talented and you know really what you're doing, then you know that you can do it over and over again, so you don't have to redeem or step on people. So that's point number one. We have to stay humble. And also we have to understand the content. What kind of content? You want to build from scratch, but what do you want to build from? I started writing when I was, even before university. I never thought of becoming a journalist initially. I personally did sciences. I wanted to be an aviation engineer. But when the opportunity came and government of Uganda, the Kabaka personally called me and they offered me a bursary, I changed my mindset. I now knew that I wanted to take this. Of course, I had other offers on the table, but I decided to go for journalism because I was tired of calculators. So I shifted my mindset and I tried to know what do I want in life and how am I going to achieve there. But the one thing that, okay, that's another point, but the one thing that we usually mistaken is we usually have goals that along the way shift because of dynamics, growth, modalities that we never know. You might want to work, for example, at NTV as the big media company or any other media company, but I'll use mine. NTV as a big media company, and then along the way, the dynamics change. Maybe XTV comes up, and it's now, the biggest. So along the way, the sales change. We need to be flexible to understand these dynamics and to accept that this has come and we need to change. And that's how we can build from scratch. Content is not just, it can be seen from a lot of things. For example, what makes NTV different or Daily Monitor or any other media company is the content. Not that we get it elsewhere, but the lens that you perceive it from is quite that builds something different. For example, I usually like ghetto stories. I do ghetto stories. But when I go there, you do a story and one asks, how did you do that story? In fact, for all the ghetto stories I've done, those guys are appreciative because they have impacted on their lives. And every person that I got to work on that story from has gotten an affiliation or a funding from the story that we have done. And that is content. Something that is simple, something that is tangible. Let's not just view them from the stories we do. Renewable energy. The content that you can produce justifies and defines us from scratch to up. Let me give you a scenario. Who knows CB Talker on TikTok? CB Talker. And who knows Shutter Empire on YouTube? Now, if I could tell you that both those brands, I'm the one who built them with content as they started up to now, you wouldn't believe it. But I showed the first contents up to now. So when you reach the way, you're like, okay, I've shown you what to do. I've given you the tools. You go and do what you do now. When Shutter Empire started his YouTube, the content he was doing was sitting down, talking to people like a podcast and stuff. So he's my friend. We grew up together, down from the dungeons. When he came to me, he told me, hey, Arafa, you're a journalist. I want you to come and help me sit down and then we discuss something. Give me a topic to discuss. I told him, Josh, you see, these things you're doing are very, very obvious. They are not going to yield anything for you. He asked me, what do you want me to do? I told him, man, we grew up from the ghettos. We grew up from the ghettos. There is a lot of talent in the ghetto that hasn't been tapped in. And he told me, how do you want me to do it? I told him, my job is to show you. It's not to tell you. That's also another factor, by the way. Let's not be just talking. Let's act. Let's act. We have a tendency of talking a lot, but acting less. So, Shutter Empire, Josh, he told me, okay, what are you going to do? I told him, you have an iPhone, give it to me. So he gave me an iPhone, we went to the ghetto. The ghetto we first went to is Chiguri, down. I think I wanted to talk about in this aspect of building from scratch, Jukanya. So we all know that to be confident and stuff, but not overconfident. To be confident, you can reach your heights. You have to know what you want in life. You have to measure the dynamics. You have to look at and know everything. You don't have to just stick to one particular thing that I'm expertise on, maybe economics or this or that. You have to know everything, everything as a journalist, economics, politics, social life, and other things. I worked with IMF, I actually work with IMF in their PR office, but it's economics. I never studied economics. I never studied economics, but just because I know what economics, global geopolitical economy, how it works, I was called. I was called at the US foreign policy because of that. But I never studied anything. So you never know where your opportunity is going to lie. You just have to study everything. You don't have to limit yourself because you never know how your wings can spread, the distance too. And if you limit yourself, then you are your own kind of failure. In 2025, when the politics were at their height, my bosses were like, we need to do debates. We need to do debates and stuff. So they called me. They were like, okay, we want your idea on this. What do we do? I was like, debates. Oh, it's okay. We can do debates. And anyway, it is in the past. Let me just talk it out. We did the debates, but our first idea was taken by another media house. And it wasn't just the constituency. It wasn't just the idea of an MP debate. It was the idea of also the constituency to start from. And there was a reason why that constituency was important, but they went for it. So they came to me the next morning. They were like, Katibaji Tuta. I was like, you know what? Let's not do MP debates. And they were like, what are we going to do? We are going to lag behind. I told them, I'm going to do a presidential debate. They told me, are you going to pull it off? They were skeptical. I told them I'll pull it off. I'll pull off the presidential debate. They asked me, are you really going to do that? I told them I'll do that. It was around ending of September or start of October. And midday I had a trip. But they asked me, are you going to really pull it off? I was like, I will. I will. And then they thought I was joking. I went, used the week, I called every presidential candidate, I told them what was on the table, and they were willing, because one thing I'd built rapport with all of the presidential candidates from the past. So the presidential candidates were on board. And then I came and told my bosses, I have the presidential candidates on board. They were like, all of them. At first, actually, we had 7 on board. The 8th one, well, I won't delve into the details, but I even had the personal number. I called the 8th president on a personal number, and actually he was also willing to come if it wasn't for the advice of the surrounding area. So, I called the presidential candidates, they accepted. And I came and told my bosses, we're going to have a presidential debate on the 30th of November. They said, are you going to do that? I was like, the presidential candidates have already accepted. So, calling these other guys that are going to be in the audience and preparing these other things and writing down the questions and pointers and pins, and that's easy, that we can do. The hardest part was getting the presidential candidates pause their trails to come and attend here, which we have pulled off. And we eventually pulled it off. And I'm very proud, by the way, to say that I pulled off the 3rd presidential debate that has ever been in this country at this particular age. The reason why is because I knew I was confident of doing what I'm going to do. You know why? Because I became the youngest producer at NTV. I became a producer when I was just 22 years, and they trusted me there. So I knew if they trusted me at that particular age, I've elevated, grown, shade of skin. If I could be here, then that means I can pull it off. And eventually I did. But it starts with your own trust. If you know that you trust yourself and you've built rapport. That's why I talked in the first, you have to be humble. When you be humble, you talk to people with respect, no matter where they are, no matter who you are. I go back to the ghettos and we blend. You might find me and you don't think that I work with NTV. But why? Because I know this is the society I grew up in. They know me inside out. So what's the reason of running away? Or what's the reason of, showing myself up, elevated? Because next time I'm going to come looking for a story from them. Right? Next time I'm going to come looking for a story. If you are a source, I come talk to you, no matter where you are, taxi driver or something. I don't disrespect you, because it is not the first and last time we're going to interact. That's number 1. But also number 2, it's just the principle of life, man. It's just the principle of life. Every book talks about it. the Bible, the Quran, they talk about respect, they talk about humbleness. And these principles are not just written or stated in these books of ink. And these principles are not just stated in ink just for us to read and, we get appeased. So we need to work upon them. We need to realize the importance of these things. Building from scratch to up where you are is not difficult and it's not easy. It depends on several factors. It has never been one-dimensional. So let never anyone come and tell you have to do this or you have to go through this way. We all grow up from different backgrounds, but we are all converged here. That shows that we can all reach here, no matter how. 1 plus 9 equals 10. 2 plus 8 equals 10. 7 plus 3 equals 10. 6 plus 4 equals 10. Those are different numbers, all converging to one thing. So it has never been a one-dimensional path. It is several dimensions, but the particular thing you have to put in your head is, where do you want to reach? Where do you want to be? How are you going to be there? What are the dynamics and modalities in this world? You'll never, the thing they say that no man is an island is not just a word. We have to put these things in practice. These are not just words. We have to think. We have to think very thoroughly. I wish I could drench from my soul one speck of remorse, but an artist is only shot by just a perfectionist. So we have to be perfectionists in whatever we do. I follow a code called precision. Have to be perfect, no matter what you do. Do something small, but do it rightly, and they will like it. I did the presidential debate when they were looking for NTV at 20 pulling it off. You know who they looked up to? It was me. So if you do something right, even if it's one, it will speak volumes than doing multiple things. I'd rather you make a survey 10 times and then you execute once than executing 10 times and make survey once. That is very hectic, right? So in life, we have to know, building from scratch and reaching where you are, it is not an easy path, it is not an easy task, but it involves you as a person, it is you as a character, it is you as a mindset, it is you as a fragrance. We are ashes in the snow. We just have to polish that snow to see the ash, okay? The snow is always there. The snow is always there, but how are you going to pick up these scraps? We all have materials here to make us the best, but how are you utilizing them? Content, this phone, so many people have earned from it and others haven't earned from it, but we all use content, we all use here. I opted not to be too much of social media just because of what I do and the self-respect I give myself, but it doesn't mean I cannot create for others. And I've given examples of channels that I've created, and there are many that I've created that don't pop up. I created the Gaza Boss Spectrum, the Burabi, so these are all platforms I've helped elevate from scratch. And they come and seek for my consultancy and what, and I don't give them, I don't make them pay any money. You'll never hear my name anywhere. And that is consolidation and knowing that if my talent can speak to me, no one else can tell me shit about who I am. So you have to trust for yourself. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Bannayo obugalo obulala. Okujjako ng'oluzungu lwakalubyemu nga points tozifunye. Naye omusajja abadde ne content. Thank you very much. I did not just imagine that he has Luanga no kale. So don't tell us no shit about media symposium. We will have it again and again. We'll have it again and again. Who says we have had a good evening? Who says this is a good idea? And we should grow it again and again. Waliwo abadaga nti tubukemu omwezi gumu tuleete omwezi omulala. Njagala kuwa omwami oli just omukono gumu gwokka then mpite president. Tugalewo. tujja kuserera. Waliwo abagamba nti ate wekiba ekingi ennyo bwekitamiiza. Soge tutamiire, Kasamaganjo yatuwadde. Well, I leave that to the executive. It will have to decide on our next date to have the media symposium. But what I'm sure of is we will now we will now lower the discussion a little bit to our local, much more local. Lero tubadde nnyo mu Luzungu. Era tujja kikola kasavu kanyama guno omwezi we tukikuba mu Luzungu, guno omwezi tukikube muki? Mukiganye. Amanyi katubadde mu content oli wa gundi wali waganti nte tukutte nnyo ku gundi eno kusaiva mtu akubawa abakasuku bali bagundi tubalete wano tukube ekimeza. But we will have those discussions in the executive and we shall decide. I was meant to give a presentation, but Kulwobudde, let's have it next time. Mr. President, you are welcome to give us closing remarks. Banaye mkulu tumuwa bugalo. Banaye no media symposium esose ate mu kisanja kya president. Fred Kizito Hape senior. Sebo.
Badde mujjukiza nti waliwo aweereza ka message ku group ya nga mubuuzo bakasomye bwana bakasomye n'abategeeza. Oh yes, basebo ne banyabo twagala okumanirizaako mu media symposium soose nsaba fena twewe obugalo bw'enjawulo. Basebo ne banyabo si kyangu kuloota ekirooto ne kifuuka ekyaddala. Obugalo obuddako nsaba mu bukubire director waffe wa publicity Mr. Joshua Masereka. Mr. Joshua ono ekyo kibadde kirooto kye era tukizadde olunaku olwaleero. Waawo Mr. Symposium nga tumaze okumutuuma twagala okwebaza abantu bonna abalabise olunaku olwaleero. Mugera kunzikiriza nkozesa ebigambo bisatu byokka kubanga akadde kagenze. Aba keynote speaker baffe bonna bagenze naye nsaba okubasindikira obubaka obw'enjawulo nti batukoze obulungi obutagambika era obubugalo bwe mubawadde omwoyo omutukuvu ajja butuusa. Thank you so much. Bannamawulire ffenna abali wano kitwetaagisa okwejjukiza nti ffe tuwa abantu obugagga. Teri kiruma muntu agaba bugagga kubanga mwavu. Kisoboka okubanga munnamawulire osobola okwambala essuuti ey'emitwalo 5 ku kakadde kubanga gwogaba obuki gwogaba obugagga. Amakulu ga symposium eno naffe okwegattako value. Lwaki betukolera bo bagaggawala ng'ate ffe tusigala nga bwe tukola tutya nga bwe tuli. Twagala okusazaamu ekyo olwaleero nti kyekiseera twegatte wamu ng'abamawulire ffenna bannamawulire mu Uganda tufuuke eddoboozi limu nga tukulaakulanya abalala mu kubawa information naye nga naffe tetusigadde mabega. Adventist Media Association kibiina kya bannamawulire aba Advent wabula mu symposium eno tetulina mukisa okuggalawo. Symposium eno ya bannamawulire bo bonna. Tubasuubiza nti omwezi ogujja tugenda kubateekera ekisingako obulungi. Ate era tubasuubiza nti temugenda kutuwaayo wadde ssente, tugenda kubategekera ku bwereere nga temukakubidde ngalaba. Ate kuno kujja kubaako n'eggi ku kyokulya kubanga leero eggi lyeribuzeeko lyokka si kyo weewaawo kyekyo. Njagala kubategeeza nti obumu ge maanyi. Ekimu ku kitukuumidde emabega nga bannamawulire mu Uganda kwe kubanga buli amanyi ye. Omusajja ono w'emyaka 22 eyamenya record ku NTV oyinza obutakitegeera okujjako nga ye akikoze atya akyogedde. Tewaliiwo ali wano nga Katonda yakutonda kubeera mukozi w'abalala. Nedda gw'oyagala. Tewaliiwo ali wano nga Katonda yamutonda kubeera mwavu okujjako nga gukoze otya kisoboka okukolera abalala nga naawe okola ebiki ebibyo. Munnamawulire gwali wano kyogamba bwe wandisimbye emiti ku Mande nga ku ssaawa 4 ez'ekiro olina sho emiti egyo gyandifudde. Kyogamba nti gwe bw'olima lumonde kasooli n'ebirala mu kyalo kitegeeza nti olwo amawulire gaba gakuweddemu. Mbadde ngenda kubuuza ekibuuzo gye ntera okubuuza abantu nti gino emitwe gyaffe gikola naye gikola bulungi nti gwokeera kutuulaawo olinda amawulire ge baleese ogasunsule gaveemu obugagga obunaaweerera abaana boggwe okakasa kisoboka. Ekiseera ekifaanana bwe ekito kyetaaga okwejjukiza nti mu budde bw'obweddembe bw'oba ogenda mu busuubuzi kola ki? Bw'oba ogenda mu bulunzi kola ki? Wabula na bino by'olina wano nabyo bikozesa okugaggawala. Tubasuubiza okusinkana ebbanga ddene, tubasuubiza okubateekera ebisingako obulungi. Twagala nnyo okwebaza ba sponsors baffe. One best sponsor waffe ndowooza ffenna tumumanyi, Maganjo Grain Millers. Ladies and gentlemen, bw'oba oddayo ewaka nkusaba oguleyo akantu ka Maganjo katya. The more he gets money, the more he supports the symposium. Gulayo kamu. Ne bw'olakinga video ye, ne bw'olaba akalango ke, ne bw'ogulayo akawunga ke, ne bw'ogulayo eŋŋano ye. Sure deal. Oba otadde mu symposium. Twagala okwebaza South Africa kubanga etuweereza tubadde live. Twagala okwebaza ne media houses ez'enjawulo. Nandisinzizaawo awo naye twabasuubiza obutatuuka ssaawa 3. Zino ziri 3 n'eddakiika mmeka? 2. Njagala kubagamba ebigambo bino ebisemberayo ddala. Listen well. Tuwulize buki? Speak honestly. Yogera buki? Yogera buki? Mazima bulungi. Byombi. Now, tutaninge passion into paychecks. Nze ebbanga lye nkoledde ku radio balina beekolera ku radio bajusha bano boogera amaloboozi amanene era amalungi bano badereke naye bw'olinsanga nga ntuddemu ojja kwewuunya naye ebyo tebireeta ssente kuki ku meeza byensobola okugatta ku ddoboozi eryo tebisobola okuleeta ssente ku meeza. Nsaba okubagaliza emirembe gya Katonda nga muddayo bassebo ne banyabwe twali tuzemu okubayita mukkirize okukomawo wano kubanga bingi bye tukyaleeta. Thank you so much. God bless you. Oh yes, ba members ba Adventist Media Association mwenna abali wano nga tutegeka symposium eddako tulina ekituli ekiri mu ddiiro okuva obukulembeze buno bwe bajja tetunaba kubatwalako ku mazzi. Twaba tuteko tunaba batwalako mu kibira. Twaba tuteko tunaba batwalako bweru wa ggwanga. Twaba tuteko lwaki tetuteekayo kakalangala ak'ennaku 2 wakiri mu bbanga eby'emwezi gumu 2-3 bameka abagamba ba ama kisoboka sebo publicity kitegedde kalangala basebo ne banyabo nangirira kalangala nga nva wano. God bless Uganda.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Bannaye omanyi waliwo okulonda president ng'abulira mu pulpiti nga muno naye ofuna ng'ono amalayo group photo webazanga Mukama ebintu byekola byokka. Bannaye, we want to thank the president of Ugandans on X. Yes, Ugandans on X was here. Nate Adventists on X, Sebo Mkulubil, thank you for coming. Thank you. We love your presence. Please stay with us and be with us always. Waliwo Musumba, Sebo Musumba, Sabo Emilio tubuuzeeko katono. Musumba oyo yatuwagadde nnyo n'agamba ajja kubeera naffe olunaku olwaleero. Amina. 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 Nsaba buli muntu ali wano nga toli mu Advent oyimirireko. Kakati wetubanga tulinayo nsaba y'abakyala abalungi bampere ku buhaaga eri bammemba abaami abo. Bana, keep up, please. We want to welcome you in a special way. Hey, bana, buntu butono nnyo. Yes. Yes. Please hug them. Kali. Hey. Mubapere buhaga. Chiwadde ekyo. Okay, then the executive members abali wano aba ama namwe executive members aba ama betwasobodde kwogerako sebo mukulu president nga woli wano, we recognize you. Nsaba the last activity tujje tutekinga group photo wano naye nga tetunaba gitekinga, nja kusaba musumba ajja tuwa closing prayer naye sebo aba LC abali eyo nsaba mujje mu coordinating group photo eno. Jairus, be ready to take that picture. And then you are free to leave at leisure. You leave in a hotel yekola 24 hours. Naye katusoke tusabe musumba sebo jangu tuwe sala.
Katwembe kulokusaba nange. Let's humble ourselves for prayer. Our kind of loving Father, I want to thank you so much for this evening. I want to thank you so much for such a powerful gathering. It's one of its kind that has gathered your people under one agenda and train us on how we can use the talents you've given to us to be able to sustain our people, but also to also earn living out of it. I want to thank you so much for all the speakers who have blessed us this evening, and how we pray that everything they have shared in this evening be something that can build our careers and we'll be able to sustain our careers as we benefit out of them. I want to thank you so much for everything, for our leaders who have organized this, for those people who have sponsored Maganjo, South Africa, and the other medias and companies that have come together to see that they make this a reality. I want to thank you so much for the dreamer, for the vision bearer who dreamt this, and now it has come into existence. How we pray that you continually bless us each and every single day. You bless the organizers, you bless the people who are leading this association. At the end of the day, by the time we come back, we gather in big numbers, and it will be so massive as we learn from each other. Bless us as we are going back to our different entities. Some are going to work, some are going at their leisure, some are going at their homes. I pray that you travel with us safely until we see ourselves back again. But also prepare our souls at the right time. When your son is back, we'll be able to inherit the kingdom of heaven. I pray and believe that you are going to be with us, and you're going to bless us exceedingly abundantly than how we've asked in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, Pastor Kajenza. Yes, let's